Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the County Seat. I'm your host, Chad Booth. You know, elections just finished for municipal offices, and we have a whole new slate of people in all 29 counties taking office to run the cities and towns around our state. Of course, this program focuses on county, but while it's election time, it seems like an appropriate topic to talk about the offices at the county level. What are the jobs that you elect for in the county? That will be the topic of our show today. And it's very important because those people make decisions that affect your life. They spend your tax money in your behalf. And it's important to look at them through the prism of the office that they are seeking so you can understand who's really qualified. This is part of the biggest problem of this country is we don't take time to understand the candidates, their qualifications, and the job that they do. Well, we hope this next half hour will fix that. But of course, those county offices have to run on money, budgets. And budgeting is a very integral part of county government. So we thought we would start today with a little bit of primer on the budgeting system, and then we'll meet you back here for a tour of the county offices. So here with our story is Derek Dowsett.
Thanks, Chad. A budget is a great tool to make sure we're not spending more money than we're taking in. And they work about the same whether it's for your own personal bank account, a business, or a government. But when it comes to government, it's on a much grander scale. Imagine balancing your checkbook, but trading groceries for jail funding and road construction projects.
Our role as a county is especially to provide those services that make the most sense, that cities and the state would not cover, and some of that is of course in unincorporated areas. We take care of that, or in some of the major functions like administering elections or collecting the property tax revenues that are then distributed to the school districts and the municipalities. And in that sense, we play a very vital function.
But the county also collects revenue to render the services for the citizens and generally run the county government. Those services require money to function, and in order for all of them to work properly at the same time, there needs to be a plan.
We're required to always have a balanced budget. Also, we have to adopt a budget each year. But I think having a good structure, that requirement to have a balanced budget and having definite deadlines places us as counties in a great position to make sure that we don't back ourselves into a corner, that we address issues and situations now rather than just kick the can down the road.
The process starts with the county auditor's office, where information is collected from each of the county departments to come up with numbers for projected revenue and projected expenses in the county.
Each of the departments has this dollar amount that they've been allotted, or their bucket of money. We then, during the month of September, ask the departments to then look at their budget as they build it for the next year and then make those adjustments. And as a county, it's important to look at our revenue streams, and if we look that certain activities or things are being funded primarily from revenue streams that could be endangered or have a volatile nature to them, then I think it's incumbent upon us as county officials to be aware of that and always have a contingency in place. But, you know, we don't have a crystal ball.
This year may prove a challenge for counties because of federal sequestration, as federal dollars are pulled from services that the counties provide. Utah County has tried to keep on top of the changes by highlighting federal revenue sources that may dry up.
We've gone ahead and asked departments to be very proactive, following up on their grants and asking if there will be reduction in funding.
Another challenge, particularly for rural communities, is PILT, payment in lieu of taxes. This is an reimbursement made by the federal government to counties in lieu of a property tax on federal lands within their borders.
We basically pay counties for county services because counties cannot tax federal land.
It's a substantial revenue source in a number of counties that have a lot of the federal public lands, such as Tooele and Box Elder and San Juan. Some of the other counties that have less federal land, it's not as a large a portion. The amounts that are being discussed now in terms of reduction dealing with the federal sequester they're not huge, but I think they're in the 5% range. So they would be felt, but it wouldn't be crippling.
A tentative budget is released before November, and the final budget is available for public comment during the first week in December, but the county encourages public input throughout the budgeting process.
They're welcome to come to the tentative budget adoption, which is always the last week of October. And then during November, there's opportunities to have input, but the actual public meeting where they can come and stand publicly and express concerns or ask questions is that public hearing, which is usually scheduled the first week of December each year.
Many of us know that it's not easy to stick to a budget, but they offer a lot of peace of mind. For the county seat, I'm Derek Dowsett.
Well, stay with us. We will be back with the county seat. When we come back, we will start our rundown of the different county offices, who you're electing, and what their jobs are. We'll be back after this commercial break.
Kanab, base camp for your southern Utah adventures. You belong in Kanab.
Almost 45% of the oil produced in Utah, 7.8 million barrels, comes from Duchesne County. That oil feeds our state economy, provides job growth, and supports local business. Here in Duchesne County, we're working to make Utah an economic, cultural, and technological leader. Whether you're here for business or pleasure, Duchesne County will welcome you with open arms and invite you to explore all the beauty of the Uinta Mountains. Duchesne County, close enough for business, far enough to get away.
Rediscover your sense of adventure by attending the 4th annual Monument Valley Balloon Event, December 13th through the 15th at the Monument Valley Navajo Tribal Park, and the 16th annual Bluff International Balloon Festival, January 17th through the 19th in Bluff, Utah. Visit us for some of the most beautiful, unencumbered red rock flying in the Southwest, Utah's San Juan County, where life is elevated.
I think it's important that no one single person have the ability to do all of the functions necessary in the assessing and collecting of property taxes, that it go through a number of elected officials' hands to make sure that it is all done appropriately and fairly to the citizens and taxpayers of the county, that there's accountability.
Welcome back to the county seat. Okay, it's time for us to begin our tour of the elected offices. One of the most important things is assessing and collecting. You know the old saying, it takes money to make the world go round. It's true in business, but it's also true in government, because without tax dollars, we wouldn't be able to provide schools or municipal services, police, fire protection, mental health, and a host of other benefits that the counties provide to make our life quality improved. But there's also a sacred trust, because collecting taxes is dealing with our money. To make sure that process is done correctly, they divide county functions of assessing and collecting into 4 or 5 different departments, depending upon which county you live in. But no matter where you live, it starts out in the field.
The county surveyor's office provides the information and data necessary for the county recorder to map in the ownership plats in that taxing process of what the shape and size of a section might be.
A section, quarter section, or corner is marked by a monument which is physically anchored into the ground. These monuments are then used in maintaining accurate surveys in order to provide for certainty in the boundaries of real property. The information collected by the county surveyor is then recorded with the county recorder, the central location for keeping track of all records that have to do with ownership of property within the county.
The purpose of the records is a perpetual record of the land transactions and what's happened to a piece of dirt, who the owners have been, who's had interest in it, what kind of encumbrances it might have. Also, the record serves as public notice for transactions that occur. Without the public record, there's no basis for taxation of the property, and essentially the recorder begins that real property taxation process. The Office of County Recorder is to keep the record pure. And I love the word pure because that portends perhaps a granite, rock, mountain type of stability in the county records, and it's not a moving target.
Once a pure record of the property is placed into the system, then it's off to the assessor's office, where fair market value of both real and personal property are determined as part of the taxation process.
The assessor's responsibility is to discover all property that's taxable in the county and to value that property. There's a number of aspects that you have to look at in terms of the economy and the physical characteristics, and trying to determine what would a willing buyer pay to a willing seller. What is that number? And then in our environment where we're appraising large numbers of property, how do we do it effectively in terms of cost and ensuring that there's quality in those answers that we have? I like to think of from a macro perspective. Instead of looking at individual properties, we're interested in individual values, but looking at neighborhoods as a whole, looking at what's happening with an entire neighborhood or entire area within a community. We strive to appraise at fair market value, but it's more important that we're equal and uniform in the application of those values so that everyone pays, in effect, their fair share.
Once a value is determined by the assessor, then the tax records go off to the auditor, who will look at the valuations, the needs of the county, and set the tax rate. But setting taxes is not all that happens behind this door.
The auditor is responsible for the financial information of the county, and so any money coming into the county initially comes through the auditor's office. Between the auditor's office and the treasurer's office, we provide the checks and balances for the county. So money coming into the county is receipted into my office and then taken to the treasurer's office, where there it's deposited into the bank accounts. Our office is responsible for the payroll and accounts payable functions for the county. So we issue those payments from here. We prepare the checks, and then the checks are given to the treasurer's office, who actually mails them out. That provides another checks and balances for the county. Another thing that the auditor does is prepare monthly financial statements that are distributed to each of the offices and the departments at the end of each month for management purposes, so they have an accounting from month to month of where they're at in accordance with their budget. The auditor also plays a key role in the real property tax system. Throughout the summer months primarily is when we're dealing with that, and the auditor sends out the valuation notices that are mailed to each one of the property tax owners.
I know it seems complex that so many different departments are involved in the process of taxing, but there's a reason. Because it creates a wall of separation which both acts as a safeguard and assures transparency in the taxing process. That way, everybody knows what everybody else is doing, and you can be rest assured that your tax dollar is being handled properly.
All throughout the year, we also collect all of the monies that come into the county from all of the different departments that collect money for their services, such as building permits. We have marriage licenses, we have passports, we have our recording fees for recorder's office, our Western Park greens in money, our landfills. All of these different departments are collecting monies, and all of those monies come to the treasurer's office for me to bank and to invest.
Well, that covers the offices that you have a chance to vote for within the county that have to do with taxation. When we come back, we'll talk about the Chief Jurisdictional Officer for the county.
Get ready, set, jump! The day starts off at sunrise with the Cisco Disco. Come catch Cisco fish at Cisco Beach on the east side of Bear Lake. After the fishing, why not jump in the lake yourself? The Bear Lake Monster Polar Plunge starts at 11 a.m. at the Bear Lake State Park Arena. All proceeds from the event go to Primary Children's Medical Center. Gather your family and head north for a great cause. Visit bearlake.org for more information. Rich County, take the plunge.
How would you spend an extra day in Utah Valley? Stay one more day. Visit utahvalley.com to make reservations. Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.
I didn't order this. Compliments of the lady in gold. Hello, trouble.
Anything worth doing in this quiet little town? You look like the kind of man that could show a girl a good time.
You strike me as the kind of girl that likes a manicure and a massage.
How's that for a manicure?
I hate golf.
I was hoping for something a little more vigorous.
Vigorous, I can do.
And I thought you'd be riding side saddle.
What? I'm gonna regret this. How about that manicure?
So far, we have taken the journey through how we generate the funds to operate the county and the 5 departments: the surveyor, the recorder, the assessor, the treasurer, and the auditor. Now we're going to start applying the power of government by taking a look at the most traditional of all county jobs, the county sheriff.
Public safety. That's what we do. Not only the general public, but we're also tasked with those people that are in our care in our county jails. You know, their safety is just as important. You know, we take prisoners from all of the entities in the county and hold them safely, transport them to courts. You know, the courts is part of our function too. We have our bailiff and our court services people that are in the courts. But you know, the jail is a very, very important part of what the county sheriff does. It's one of his biggest jobs, really, in the county. I think it's the most libelous for the county to have a jail, and it's very important that the jails are run, you know, fairly and honestly and safely.
While the sheriff may be the chief enforcement officer for the county, the chief judicial officer is the county attorney. This is a very important job. It's the only one that's constitutionally mandated in Utah. Now, while his main function may seem to be prosecuting serious crimes, county attorney's job is far broader than that.
My job as the Salt Lake County District Attorney is twofold. I am the principal criminal prosecutor for all serious crime in Salt Lake County. That means Class A or above felonies, everything from sex crimes to murders to forgeries to white-collar crime, anything that's a serious crime. The second function of my job is to serve as civil counsel to Salt Lake County government. So that means that our client is Salt Lake County government. The mayor, the sheriff, the county council, every aspect of county government. So when they are being sued, we defend them. We sue on behalf of them. If there are contracts, tax issue, bond issue, property rights issues, any of the thing that requires legal representation. And so our job is to protect and defend the county in every legal way that we can.
That covers the law and order section of the jobs within the county. When we come back, we'll look at the people who create the laws on the county seat.
The best part about raising children here in Vernal and the Uinta Basin is just the smaller community that makes you feel like when you go somewhere, you know everybody.
So we packed up our 3 kids and here we came to Uinta County. And what a great place it was. What a great move. Great schools, great outdoor activities. Just a really great place to raise your family.
My father, he was an engineer for Chevron, retired 39 some odd years. And Jeff, my husband, it's the same way. He's always worked in the oil and gas, always had a job here. And with that industry, when it does good, the whole valley thrives.
Uinta Basin's been fantastic in supporting what we've tried to do both as a business and also in the development of mountain bike trails and the sport of mountain biking.
I'm able to run up to a beautiful place like this and spend some good quality time. It's one of the big reasons why I live where I live.
And that makes it just a wonderful place to have little ones like this.
Kanab, base camp for your southern Utah adventures. You belong in Kanab.
Rediscover your sense of adventure by attending the 4th annual Monument Valley Balloon Event, December 13th through the 15th at the Monument Valley Navajo Tribal Park, and the 16th annual Bluff International Balloon Festival, January 17th through the 19th in Bluff, Utah. Visit us for some of the most beautiful, unencumbered red rock flying in the Southwest, Utah's San Juan County, where life is elevated.
Now, rules, regulations, and ordinances are required for us to live together as a society. At the county level, it is the commission or council that comes up with the rules and ordinances we live by. The commission form of government is truly unique to the United States. There's no other elected position that is both administrative and legislative at the same time. County commissions are the ones who vote on enacting different ordinances, rules, and laws. But they are also the same ones who administer the departments who apply the laws.
While the Commission has a fair amount of power to carry out ordinances under state statute, they have little control over what happens in other county offices.
Commission, their main responsibility, number one, is administering the budget. And so that is really, that's the main job that we have overall. You know, there's all those other elected offices that are in the county. We don't have any authority over them to tell them you do this or you do that, you know, with the recorder, the treasurer, the clerk, the sheriff, whatever. They have the authority that comes with their job.
In addition to managing the budget, the County Commission is involved in a number of broad issues that affect the county and ultimately you, the taxpayer.
Economy, jobs, education, you know, all of those issues are things that we're working on continually.
23 of Utah's 29 counties have a 3-member commission. But the other counties have adopted a broader form of government with a council of 5 to 9 members who serve terms from 2 to 6 years. These council members make the rules and laws for the county and vest the administration in either an elected county mayor or an appointed executive.
The mayor provides the executive function, that is, that he provides the leadership in terms of providing a service, and the council is strictly policy. We set the policy and we set the budget. So we will say, here's where we want services to be provided and here's the money to do it. Mayor, go do it. And it's a pretty thorough and rigorous process in terms of, one, establishing the policy, and secondly, looking at the amount of public resources, that's basically tax money, you want to put into providing that particular service. And so it gets a rigorous scrutiny, and the public's very welcome to any of those meetings, and they can see the process. Once again, reverting back to the commission form of government, very, very efficient, but not necessarily transparent, and with only the opportunity, or at least the possibility, of only 2 of 3 people making a decision.
Now, we've covered almost all of the elected officials in the county, except one, the county clerk's office, and we will cover that office next.
County clerks serve as the record keeper of all the decisions that commission and councils make, along with the decisions that you make.
I oversee several divisions. I oversee elections, marriage, passports, and council clerks for Salt Lake County. And the jobs within those divisions to conduct fair, honest, open elections, keep all of the voter files, and also the marriage divisions, we keep all the records, we issue marriage licenses, and council clerks, we keep records of all of the meetings for Salt Lake County.
To many people, county government is invisible, but as you can see, these offices have the most effect on your daily life, and as a result, they are the most important offices on the ballot.
Even though we're kind of in the background, and that we do fulfill a role, and we provide a lot of support functions that help not only the state operate on the county level with their programs and that, but also help the municipality succeed as we provide expertise and different support for them.
It is the most rewarding form of government, the most rewarding level of government, in my opinion, there is out there. You can do it on the local level much more quickly. You can see a problem, you can address it at the next meeting, you can fund it if necessary and give direction to solve it. And you can do that rapidly, within weeks. Where, you know, for instance, on the state level even, where it would take a meeting of a legislator possibly to expend funds, or on the federal level where it may take a career or a decade to get anything through, we can do it rapidly. We're able to provide a great deal of good that affects the quality of life. And I mean not only the public safety issues, which are protecting people, but also supporting art councils throughout the valley and each city, on and on and on. We do a great deal in terms of promoting the arts and culture. We also provide recreation. We run recreation programs all over the county, have parks all over the county, and some beautiful recreation facilities. We're able to do that and manage it on a local level and meet people's needs in particular areas fairly rapidly. And so that's the reward. You can wake up in the morning, take a drive around the county and see things that you've actually done. Whereas in other levels of government, particularly the higher you go, the less able you are to do that.
The elected offices that we have in the state of Utah are very important offices, especially on the city and the county level. That's your government that's working for you. And that's when you should take the time to study the issues and study the people and vote wisely.
Well, from the assessor to the auditor, from the council to the sheriff, we've covered it all for you today. We hope it has made the picture of county government a little more clear for you. We invite you to find out more. If you have questions, we would like you to contact us. thecountyseat.tv is our website. We have some information posted there, and we would love to specifically answer any questions you have and create a dialogue on county elected offices through our Facebook page. Well, thanks for joining us. I would like to lay out a personal challenge to you, as we have always talked about this show being about county government and how you need to be involved. I would like to invite you to find out more by going to a local council or commission meeting and meeting with your elected officials, find out how accessible those meetings are, and you may find it very interesting, especially in light of what you've learned today. Oh, by the way, when you get there, tell them the county seat sent you. Thanks for watching. Thank you for inviting us into your home, and we'll look for you next week on the County Seat.